My name's Dominic, and I am here with our former, person behind the passion. This is David DeCesaris. Let me put the name up on the screen. Hello, David. How you doing, man?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So David and I go pretty far back. David and I were neighbors back in the hood, way back when, for I don't even know how many years. I'll guess 10.
Yeah, at least 10 years, I would say.
Yeah. And David's an artist. Okay, David's an artist, a sculptor, and one of the first times that I met him, I saw some of these paintings that he does. They're amazing, and they're very interesting. Okay, and then I think the thing I saw first, actually, Dave, was the sculpture in your garage.
Yeah.
Then I knew I was living next to somebody that was not
normal.
Not normal, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, how you doing, man? Everything's okay?
Yeah, things are good. I've been just working and trying to set some goals, and I reach a goal and then I try to set new goals, and that's what my progression has been. So
yeah. So okay, you're in your studio right now, right?
Yeah, I am. This is where I paint. So I come in here. This is the room that I paint in.
Yeah. Okay. Now, are you on the laptop or are you on the phone?
I'm on the laptop.
Okay.
I can do it's not a big room. It's a small room, with stuff around, an over the head thing. So,
yeah. So, but anyway, I mean, you were person behind the passion. I nominated you about, I don't know, 2 years ago. And then you came on and we're talking about you being out on the East Coast, and then you went down to, what was it, North Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina. And I went to school in North Carolina, and then I was in undergrad school.
Right.
Yeah. And then I
down there to learn more about art, right?
Yeah, well, I wasn't when I went down there. I just went, it was college, and I think I was a history major, and and then later on, I was never really academically interested. I think I did well in things I was interested in, but really, the only thing I found that held my attention was art. When I started, looking at it and, studying it, and, that held my attention. So
the parties.
Yeah. I was not a big, I partied, like everybody, but I was not like a big, Friday and Saturday night, I was in the art department, and, that was kind of my thing. That was I think toward the the end, I wasn't as interested in, doing substances that took me to somewhere else. I wanted to be like right here, kind of aware of what I was doing. And, I found if I was drinking or out partying, then I couldn't do, the creative stuff,
right.
You couldn't, your skills suffered, and so, I liked a lot of Saturday and Friday nights in the art studio.
So you kind of been addicted to art for a long time.
Yeah. I would say so. I used to, look as a kid, look at pictures. We had this Bible that my mother had out on the coffee table, and it was one of those big. I still have it, actually. When she passed away, my sister gave it to me. But I would sit there, and it had all these paintings and pictures in it, illustrations, and they were, you know, they were actual paintings by Renaissance painters, Raphael and, Leonardo and, all the big names back then. And those were the illustrations in this Bible, like, Daniel and the lions and, stories. I don't know if you know any of those, but so I used to like sit there and I would like look at those pictures. I was like fascinated with those pictures. And,
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff I do now is, still inspired by those early days, looking at those paintings and pictures in that Bible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When I look at your art, I always have this like, OMG. There's no like, oh, that's really amazing. It's like, whoa. I went to your Instagram
Uh-huh.
and I'm really kind of impressed. There's hundreds. Let me go back to the top. How many posts are there? 369 posts, and I would say almost all of them are individual pictures, paintings. So I'm just gonna hold this up. I scrolled down like halfway, and I'll just hold this up for a few seconds here so people can get an idea.
A panoramic. Yeah.
Right. This style. Now, what style? I mean, what the genre do you fit into?
Well, I mean,
Is there any?
I'm a contemporary artist. I think what I do is contemporary, and like I mean, everything you do has some kind of historical content to it. So
Yeah.
somewhere along the way, I saw something or read something or heard something that ends up being the imagery that I'm using.
Yeah. This is the interesting one right here. The one that kind of, whoops, that one right there is
the mug shot.
Yeah, it's a mug shot. No, but if people are watching, there's a couple people watching, and thank you for joining us today.
Yes,
Those of you who were out there, but David's definitely unique. I scrolled all the way to the bottom. So can you date these for us? This is
so yeah, probably the earliest ones I think I got on Instagram. I can't remember when, 2018 maybe.
okay. So these are
started. So I think most of those span like maybe about 6 years worth of paintings. Yeah. And some of the sculptures are, well, the small sculptures are recent, but the bigger ones they're older. But yeah.
one of the first things that I ever saw you do that really blew my mind was that thing over at Purdue.
Yeah.
That arch.
Right. Yeah. Well, so that's when I was in even before grad school, but I did a lot of non-objective work. So I did a lot of like worked with wood and wood construction and welded steel. And so there was a lot of, it was just abstract, non-objective sculpture. I don't know if I have any pictures of those, but, and that's kind of what I was known for in grad school. And then when I was getting, that was from a recent show in Chicago. That was in May, that show.
Yeah. Okay.
And those.
Sorry, it's not completely clear, but there's one of the sculpts right there. Whoops.
Uh-huh.
Now, is this an earlier one, or is
that one? Yeah, that one's probably from the early 2000s. Really, I've been focusing on painting, and
Yeah,
and I want to do, I'd like to do some more sculpture, but I don't have the space to do it right now. So
I remember you
that's the
saying.
way what's that?
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. Well, it's still true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's from like 2017. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
This
called
is
The Art Lovers.
the art lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
There's a
name each
there's
one.
a detail of their faces in there somewhere where, there's kind of, she's gritting her teeth, and it's kind of it was a real passionate kind of thing.
I'm
Yeah.
not
So
able to get it to focus in on that.
yeah. In the on the Instagram, somewhere in there, there's a detail of their faces.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Anyway, but these. So I just went back to the top, and the one that looks like it's the Last Supper, but it's called the Bay of Pigs.
Bay of Pigs, yeah.
This is.
Well, okay, so I got most of these, I got a little story that goes with them.
Yeah. Tell
So
us
when
about.
I started this painting, and yeah, I was actually the Last Supper, I was going to name it the Last Fucking Supper. And so, but, and I still may change it back to that, but I went with the Bay of Pigs, and it was kind of like, all the stuff that's going on in Afghanistan, and I remember when I was a kid, and you probably remember the Bay of Pigs, hearing about the Bay of Pigs with
Yeah.
John Kennedy, and I never really knew what the Bay of Pigs was, but the image I had of it was, you know, all these sloppy old men who were kind of piggish,
Yeah. Right.
and and like events that are going on today kind of remind me of that, that feeling. And
Mhm.
yeah, so then there was some music I was listening to that I'm always finding new music, new young artists, and I was watching these short films, independent films, and I'll pick up like music off of those. And there was a song from it's a group called Rogue Valley. They're young, probably in their 20s, but they had
Okay.
a song called Bay of Pigs, Bay of Pigs, and it's a beautiful song. It was nothing, so like I kind of like feel like I'm always kind of mixing some kind of beauty, or at least I think there's some beauty to them, but there's also this angst, this kind of you know fatalistic type of thing going on too. But at the same time, and that, I think that goes back to a lot of those Renaissance paintings. I mean, they're beautiful, and they're well crafted, and but a lot of them are kind of you know they're kind of brutal. They're kind of
Yeah.
the subject matter, and the Christ, with these spears in his gut. And I mean, some of them are really, they're hardcore, but they're beautiful at the same time.
Right.
And I don't know if I achieve all that, but that's kind of what I hope that they do.
Well, there's so many different. It's certainly a
Yeah.
unique style, and then there are. I see animals in there, and I see people with hoods on, and there, yeah, and there's dogs, and I don't know if it's dogs and pigs and
And cats. And
cats, and
so that show that I had in Chicago in May, we titled the show, and it was called Cats Who Eat the Canary. And it was after a painting that I had done, but there are a lot of, there's my dog, speaking of dogs. Yeah, that's the painting right there. Cats who eat the canary.
Okay.
So it was more like, well, there are cats who eat the canary, and then there are cats who eat the canary. There are
Right.
human. I had met this woman, and she was talking about some of these guys she knew, or this one guy she knew, and she goes, "Yeah, he's a pretty cool cat," And I'm like, here it is, like 2019, and who uses that phrase anymore? Cool cat. So I kind of
Cool
like
cat, right? Yeah, that it was.
humans being a cool cat, and they eat the canary, and I don't know.
Here's a good.
So,
Yeah, it's probably when you're.
I
I can
think that
only
was
imagine.
2020. So that's kind of recent. Yeah, 2000.
Okay. So on Instagram, you're David DeCesaris, and it's DE capital C. No, it's DeCesaris. David.
Yeah.
DeCesaris
So,
David.
yeah, just all lowercase.
Right, and it probably would come up anyway if it was regular case. But anyway, it's
Right.
yeah. Let me just put that up there. This thing is not.
Yeah, it's a little bit blurry. A little blurry.
If I would have thought ahead of time, I would have did the screen share thing, but I didn't. So you're in Northwest Indiana, which was where I was, but you're still out by the lake, right?
Yeah, I'm in Ogden Dunes. Yeah.
Okay. And do you frequent the galleries down on Lake Street very often?
Probably not as much as I should. I was actually thinking of going down there like this weekend, because there's a woman that I know who has a show down on Lake Street right now, and so I'd like to go see that and kind of show her support.
Yeah, I have a friend that you may even know. Her name is Bobby Meyer. She recently, her and her husband recently moved from Chicago to that one subdivision that's almost right next to the lake. They rehabbed a house down there, and she's a crazy artist too.
Bobby Meyer. I'll have to look her up. I don't. It sounds familiar, but is it it's near the lake. It's in Porter, maybe? Is it?
No. This is on Lake Street. She lives right off of Lake Street, and all the galleries are right there.
Miller. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I knew her from 20 years ago, and I was surprised to see that her and her husband actually moved, because they had a pretty nice house downtown Chicago, but the property taxes over there are probably dirt cheap.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a nice, it's a nice area to live. That Miller by the beach there's a whole community back there, and you just walk to the beach. It's nice. It's really nice.
It's real nice. I miss it.
Yeah,
I totally miss it. Here's another one. This is an interesting one here. It's like a half.
Yeah.
What's this?
Yeah,
one?
I did
speaking Japanese too.
Yeah, so I did like a little series of speaking Japanese. So there's like a 1, 2, and a 3, and that one's 2.
Yeah. So now, where do you keep all these paintings? And are these, some of these, are they for sale? Are they all for sale, or?
Yeah, they're all for sale. And some of them I have here. Most of them I have a storage unit. And so I got it's a 30-foot long unit, and I built these racks in it, and I'm running out of space, so I might have to get another one. Yeah. That one's called Postcards. So yeah, I have this friend on Facebook who was telling me that his grandparents, they were from I think Georgia. But I don't know if you ever heard of, African American families getting postcards from the KKK. And we were having this conversation, and he was telling me that his grandparents used to get postcards. And I'm like, what are you talking about, postcards? And they would send pictures of hangings to intimidate,
Really?
Yeah. And I had to, I've learned a lot from talking to him. And yeah,
Wow.
it's like stuff I've never, I guess I grew up in my little isolated world, and, and as you get older and you talk to other people and their experiences, and their different cultures, and, so I was kind of inspired by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's called Her Other Hand in Mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I kind of did that around the death of my sister. And yeah. So I was painting that, and I'd be painting and crying and, stuff like that. Wow.
Sure. Amazing, man.
And a lot
You
of,
have been
lot
busy.
of tears while I was painting that. So what's that?
So this is your full time now? Are you back to construction? Back to
No,
building houses, or what?
No, I'm working part-time for a contractor, just like estimating and overseeing jobs, and I'm not doing any hands-on, so I'm pretty much part-time with them, and then get home early and I paint or apply for things, and
Yeah.
yeah. That one's Madonna del Albero. My Italian's not too good, but it's Madonna of the Trees.
Madonna of the Trees.
Yeah.
So you sketch them out like this first?
Yeah. I usually I draw them in, and then, then start working the paint. And
It's interesting.
that one,
Go ahead.
there's a little story behind all of them. So that's hard to see, though. You can't really see the sketch on that for some reason. The drawing part's not translating on the screen.
Right. I'll see if I can find the painting. Should be close by, but so tell us the story.
Well, that one, it's called St. John the Gambler, and yeah, it's like a direct. I started, some of these come just like from music I'm listening to, and I started listening to Townes Van Zandt. He's an old, Townes?
I know. Yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah. Well, I was, started listening to some of his stuff, and was really into it. And he had this song called St. John the Gambler, and it was a really deep, emotional, and, a lot of good music, really.
Right.
Yeah. So I did a painting kind of related to that song. Yeah.
So you're
and
doing
I've been doing the writing, and I wrote on it St. John the Gambler. So, so sometimes, the title I'll just, write on there.
It's interesting. It is interesting. One of the things that I find really interesting. So I'm going to hold this one up, and that's still a bit of a sketch, right? Or no?
Yeah, that one, it's done. It's a done piece, but I don't really consider it a real successful piece. But I left it alone. There's something, usually I don't like to leave them until they're, but that's kind of what it was. So I just kind of left.
That's what came out, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand. I totally get it. Now, what I find interesting about this is where you're storing your paint underneath, and you're using these big gallon cans down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in my closet, of course, I have my paints, but they're these little ones that are this tall, and they're still half full. But you're using gallon jugs, and
Yeah.
wow.
You gotta, I wish I had more.
So tell us about the shows that you've been on recently.
So I don't know. I don't know what I told you on the last time we spoke. I could tell you some events that have come up. So there was a gallery in Chicago, and I had been applying to, they would have jury shows,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's a detail from actually that painting. I got two paintings in the Salon show in Munster coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that painting is going to be one that's in there. It's Il Vicinato. It's another Italian. It's the neighborhood. So
Interesting.
yeah.
So go ahead and continue. I'm sorry to distract you with these.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I'll keep talking. And then so anyway, I got to know the woman who's, the gallery assistant curator, and she was like, well, we really like your work and all that. And I was like, well, maybe you should give me a show. And then, so this is over the course of like a few years. So this past spring in May, we had that show. She was great to work with, and she's been a real like advocate for me. And I guess we're going to do some more things coming up. And, so that was a good experience. And,
Mm-hmm.
and then, I won this award. Have you heard of,
Yeah.
did I tell you about that already? Or
Yeah, I saw it.
was that the last time we talked?
I can't remember.
So
But
I apply for grants all the time, and it was the Adolf and Esther Gottlieb Award, and it's a pretty good, that was a pretty good kind of prestigious kind of,
Sure.
money comes with money, and it was a good thing. So I got that award, and that part of that money, or a lot of it, funded some things I needed, like I needed, a new vehicle, and I bought new good materials to paint on, and then I went to I did that show in California.
Mm-hmm.
In Los Angeles, and so I used that grant to try to heighten, make better work with better materials, and take a risk, driving out to California. My nephew went with me. I
Okay.
posted pictures, and got to know each other pretty well. Spent a couple weeks, because we drove out, and he did most of the driving. And I have a niece in New Mexico, and we stopped over and stayed
Nice.
with her, and then got to know her. So it was, it was really a good experience. I don't regret doing it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting out to California, I mean, this was all part of the award, or this was something that.
Well, it was how I used some of the funds from that award.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Monkey.
That one's called Monkey Ben and Wildflowers. The titles are really, kind of become integral with the pieces anymore.
Yeah.
It's like with sculptures, I would be like standing figure or guy bending over, But with the paintings, there's so much of a narrative to them that, I think I have to give some kind of connected, meaningful title.
Yeah.
Them. So
let me show this one here. This kind of gives a little bit of perspective on some of the sizes that you do. This woman is what, say 5 feet tall. The painting,
yeah,
2 feet off the ground, maybe. And so that thing's,
well, that's a little deceptive because okay, that painting is a 4 foot by 4 foot. So that's kind of like, one of those apps where you can take a space and enlarge it. So that's actually showing that painting bigger
okay.
than it is.
Okay. Because
I
that
mean,
to
I
me
would like
looks
to,
gigantic. How would you transport something like that if it really was that big? I mean, that's,
well, yeah, I mean, like if I wouldn't be able to do it in the space that I have. I need a bigger space. I need a bigger truck, and then I could also do it like in sections. But my background as a sculptor, I play with scale a lot.
yeah.
I like to take big things and make them see how they look real little, or take something little and make it, you know, uh, and I've done that with sculpture a lot where I make real little ones. And then with the paintings, actually, I've been making like G-clay prints, and I had some made on canvas. So I could take like a 4 foot by 4 foot painting and make it 20 inches by 20 inches,
Yeah.
on canvas, and it looks nice. It looks good. It's not an original work then, but
Hmm.
you do stuff like that.
Right. Here's something that's a little bit different. I mean, it's still kind of the same style,
Yeah,
but a bit different.
yeah. That's an older, like a charcoal and pastel drawing. Yeah, that was probably done in the '90s, I think.
Okay. These are interesting. Wow.
Yeah,
You're amazing, man.
well, you're amazing. You're amazing, man.
Wow. I'm gonna let me flip back here and see if I can get some of these sculptures in here that I'm trying to remember the first one that I ever saw was in your, this is one of them right here that I saw. I don't know if this was in your garage or in the basement.
Yeah, I made that in where did I no I where did I make that? I think we had moved to Munster.
Yeah.
Made that. I had it in a couple shows. He was a big, heavy guy. That
What is
here's
the
when we lived in Hammond. Remember that side yard that I had next to my house.
yeah.
I thought I had this great idea. I may have told you this before too. That I was going to set some sculptures in that yard, and it would be pretty cool. And so one day, I had this guy, it was like a life size kneeling down guy, and I put him out there. And I got up the next morning, and he was gone. Somebody just from the alley probably just saw him out there, and
You're joking. I didn't hear that story.
no, just took him away.
You're in the yard and they just snatched it.
Yeah, I have no idea where. I keep thinking, well, maybe one day it'll turn up.
They're waiting for you to become famous like Picasso.
Right.
But
Yeah.
still, I mean, this stuff to me is still, I mean, it's all amazing. This one probably has a story behind it. It's some gal sitting there with a bag on her head.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a guy, but
Is that a guy?
yeah.
Okay,
So,
it's a guy.
but yeah.
Interesting.
I don't. I just kind of with the paintings. It's like with those sculptures because I was doing those non-objective pieces, and and to me it was like a lot about form and feeling. It was like this whole concept that shapes and lines and colors emote feeling. So it's like listening to jazz, you know, no words, just, you know, just kind of digging the music, you know. But then when you start putting words in there, you know, or representing images, yeah, yeah, that's that big guy again. Excuse me.
Now, what kind of material is that? And is it solid or is it hollow?
It's hollow. It's a cast hydrostone. Yeah. So it's like a gypsum cement. So then you make them like you put up the one picture where it was still in clay, you know, so it was in clay, and then you make a mold on it and you cast it. I'd actually like to.
What does that mean to cast it?
So from the mold, so the original is in clay, and then you make a plaster mold. So then you've got a negative, and then in that negative, you put your permanent material, whether it's, you know, fiberglass or hydrostone, or, you know, or you can, you know, have it cast in metal, where you like would make a wax out of it, and, you know, there are different processes for casting.
Okay.
I you know, I still have a handful of those pieces, and I got this idea that I'd like to have them cast in aluminum and polished, like the high polish aluminum. So that's going to be my next grant, to have some of those.
But that's going to have to be molten, right?
Yeah, it would have to be, you know, yeah.
So the cast would have to be made out of cement or something.
They would take that, like that picture you just showed, they would take that guy and they'd make a rubber mold. And then in the rubber mold, they'd pour a wax. And so then they'd have to make a mold out of around the wax, melt out the wax. It's a real process. I mean, you'd have to have professionals do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? In school, we did like small scale, you know, we casted bronze and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have a professional do it.
Yeah, I mean, for you to do that type of it's casting and all that stuff is a whole different.
Right.
It's a whole different, different skill. These are interesting, though.
That's a detail of a bigger piece. Thank God and Robert Maplethorpe. So.
Maplethorpe.
Yeah.
Thank God and Robert Maplethorpe.
Yeah.
Who's Robert Maplethorpe?
He was a famous photographer during the, you know, hung out with Andy Warhol, and but he did a lot of really cutting edge, you know, in the gay community. He did a lot of almost pornographic type photographs, photographed a lot of celebrities, you know, but he really became famous for those, you know, crazy, almost S&M type of photographs.
Interesting.
He was doing, you know, but I was really into photography. I was very inspired by photographers, you know, so Richard Avedon and Irving Penn, and, you know, a lot of portrait photographers. So.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, there's so many good ones here. I mean, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
Somewhere inside the mushroom house.
Yeah.
Some people would probably think you were on mushrooms.
Well, that's, you know, hey, maybe I should try that. Maybe that'll propel me to, you know,
mind expanding. Yeah, like you need it. Yeah. I've never done mushrooms. I would have no idea what that experience would be like.
I haven't either. So
yeah, these kids nowadays, I know they're doing that kind of stuff, and they think it's, I don't know, I guess it's harmless if you If you,
So there was something recently they were talking about. They're using those psychedelic mushrooms for some kind of therapy. It was some kind of what the hell was it? Was it Alzheimer's or something? There was some kind of beneficial properties to it where they were using it medicinally. So I can't remember what it was though.
psilocybin. There was a kit I saw on Instagram where you could purchase this, like, you can buy these beer making kits. You buy a psilocybin growing kit. I was like, oh my God, I must be old. I gotta be old. Oh my God, crazy. Well, so where's your next show gonna be?
Well, I have that, I've got that I'm going to have a couple pieces in that salon show, and
Yeah.
So that's coming up. And then I'm working on this. While I was in LA, I met a woman from Chicago, so I went to LA, and that was an interesting experience because she came in. She was, I think, maybe with her husband and maybe a friend of hers or a couple other people with her.
Yeah.
And she was like, she goes, "Oh, I really like your work. Are you based here in LA?" And I said, "No, I came from, Chicago." And I tell people Chicago because
Right. Northwest
Indiana means nothing to them. So anyway, so she goes, "Oh, I'm from Chicago." And I said, "Oh, really? That's." She goes, "Where did you study?" And I said, "Bradley." And she goes, "Oh, I went to Bradley."
Really?
And yeah, and she goes, "What did you study?" And I said, "Well, sculpture." She goes, "Oh, I studied sculpture." And so and then we knew all the same. It's like the instructors I had were there when she was there. She graduated in like 68. So she was ahead of me. So anyway, she's trying to, we've been emailing a little bit since I've been back. And she's trying to help me get this show in the art center in Chicago.
Nice.
Or in Hyde Park.
Hyde Park. Okay.
Yeah. So and I don't know if that's going to happen, but she's, kind of trying to, present the work to the board, and I guess she's been affiliated with them, and so we'll see. Hopefully it's a nice space. I looked at it, and that would be a great place to show. So
good luck, man.
Yeah.
So so you're listed on Instagram. Is that your primary thing, or you have a website? Or if I wanted to, if somebody wanted to purchase something, they just reach out to you directly?
Yeah. I mean, I'm on Instagram, and they can DM me on Instagram. Then I have a website, and people contact me through the website. I mean, I'm not set up with pricing and things like that on the website. But if somebody wants to inquire, then and the other thing is these giclées I was telling you about. So the paintings are big and tend to be expensive. Yeah. So like collectors, they're going to want originals, but then some people just want something, they like the image and they need something affordable. So I could make a smaller image, like I had like a 4 foot by 4 foot painting I had made 20 inches by 20 inches.
Okay.
And I could sell that for a couple $100 as opposed to, several $1,000s, which a large painting would cost.
Yeah.
So, like you do them on canvas or do them on paper, and they're good quality, reproductions. So, that's available.
Cool.
So,
but the first place where people go is David DeCesaris on Instagram, or daviddecesaris.com.
Yeah, it's David DeCesaris Art is my website.
Okay.
So my all one David DeCesaris Art.
Okay.
So if you type that in, it probably would pop up.
David DeCesaris art.
Yeah, and then I've got the website on my Instagram.
David DeCesaris, DeCesaris.com. Oops, I just typed it all in caps. Oh well. So that'll show up in the thread. So just double check that and make sure it's right. So, oh wait, I think I messed it up. I think I messed it up.
What, on the website?
No, on the thread that we're in right now on Facebook. I typed it in, but I think I messed it up. It's David DeCesaris art. DavidDeCesarisart.com.
So
Okay.
I had a direct link to it on my phone, but I'm always losing stuff on this phone. The little icons on my homepage, but
Yeah.
because I don't see it now. So,
well, good luck with the shows. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it.
thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
Well, come back again. I mean, I love the updates, and I get thrills out of look at the new paintings. They're amazing.
If you
They're
come
really
down
amazing.
this way again, get in touch with me. We can go have a cup of coffee or lunch or something.
That's actually a good idea because I can tell you offline, but we're selling my mom's house in Highland, and we've been back and forth. We're up here in St. Charles. I don't think I mentioned that before. But
Yeah.
we're right along the Fox River,
Right.
and it's about an hour, probably 2 hours to your place. But I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be going, if not this weekend, the weekend after, and we want to go hang out at the beach because I haven't been there for a long time. So
Right. Okay.
I'll definitely look you up. I'll call you.
Absolutely. It'd be good.
Okay, man.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you
All
all for watching. From all of us here in the Self Achievement Network, stay inspired. See you guys later.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks.
David.